Okay, so I think we're live on YouTube now. All right, so once again, welcome everyone to another episode of the Culture Effect Podcast Show. We have Kentucky State University graduates here today. So we're going to discuss all about their HBCU experience, what led them to Kentucky State, and then life after college. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. All right. So just a little bit of snippet. I think it was a homecoming performance, and shout out to Rice Athletics, Lacey with Rice Athletics for bringing this conversation together. And he's such a great help to us at Historically Black Sense. So shout out to him. So let's go ahead and get into it. I'll have you all start with some introductions. Just let us know your name and where you're checking in from and what year you graduated. And let's start with Mark. I see you're at the top here with me. So let's start with you and we'll just kind of go around.
Sorry about that. It's Mark Smith, class of 96, education major.
Okay. All right. Devon.
All right. Damon Moats, thank you for having me. Thanks, Mr. Lacey Rice, for extending the invitation. I am in the Fort Washington, Maryland area, originally from Cincinnati, Ohio. Attended Kentucky State from 1983 to 1987, and go Preds.
Let's go, Kimba. Go ahead.
Good evening. My name is Kemba Cofield, and I am back in Frankfort, Kentucky, if you can believe that, after living in Atlanta for 20 years. I was a music education major, and I graduated in... There you go. You're welcome. That's all I'm going to say. But I graduated.
Okay, look. All right. Let's go to Charles.
Hello, my name's Charles Jackson. I attended Kentucky State University through the years of 2005 and 2010 was my graduation year. I currently reside in Frankfort, Kentucky as well. And looking forward to our discussion today.
Okay. Yeah, and I'm definitely interested to hear because I'm a Tuskegee graduate. So I've never been to Kentucky State University. So I'm just interested to hear what life was like on campus and everything in between. So let's go ahead and get into it. The first question I want to ask is what led you all to and impacted your decision to attend Kentucky State University? I don't know who wants to kind of.
Well, I didn't necessarily have the option to go to Tuskegee, but I went. Kentucky State was more so of one of the schools that accepted me. I had a bunch of friends that were not a bunch, but I had a couple of people who were already there. I'm originally from Dayton, Ohio, and I had a couple of people who were already there that I knew the school. I toured the school. And I just really liked the family atmosphere. Back when I went, I'm not sure how it was when everybody else went. It was a little bit different than it is today, but it was more so of a family atmosphere. It kind of gave you a sense of that you were going somewhere where you can really gain friends, gain camaraderie with people. And when I took the tour, that's just one of the things that I felt. At the time, me and my best friend went. We were roommates, and we ultimately graduated together. And so it was just something that I really enjoyed when I went there. Just having a lot of people that I already knew was going there, and it just kind of became home.
Okay. All
Uh,
right.
Damon Moats, I ended up at Kentucky State University to play football. There was a hall monitor who worked at my high school, Aiken High School in Cincinnati, and who recommended, because I actually had gotten letters to go play at other schools, um, but he told me that Kentucky State University was an HBCU, and I really didn't know what that was at the time when I was in high school. He just told me to send my video to Kentucky State University. I did. They said, come on down. So I literally showed up at Kentucky State in August of 1983. 4 or 5 of my buddies and I my buddy Chris Clayton's car, and with my Foot Locker, and I think that's all I had to my name when I got dropped off at that Foot Locker for football camp in '83, fall of '83, and that's how I ended up and matriculated from through Kentucky State University.
Okay. All right. Who wants to go? Kimba, you want to go next?
Sure. I happen to be a little different. I actually grew up in Frankfort. My brother graduated from Kentucky State. My father was a professor there. My mother was a tutor there. And my entire neighborhood either taught at Kentucky State or had something to do with the school. Naturally, you would think I wouldn't have had an interest. And my father gave me the option of going to a school that he was on the Board of Regents or Kentucky State. I took a tour of that school, and I knew I was going to go to Kentucky State. So that's kind of the way it was. I had 2 options. Mr. Cofield said this one or that one, and I chose Kentucky State.
Okay. Let's see here. We have. Okay, Marie just joined us here. How you doing, Marie?
Hi, everybody. Sorry I'm late. I just came from the conference honoring the Women's Club of Homestead. I'm part of, I'm in the board. So we just released the women, so I'm now here.
Okay. All right. And then, let's see. Damon is joining us back here. Yeah, so pretty much we were going around, everyone did their introduction. So we're just, everyone is saying what led them to Kentucky State University.
Oh, okay. Well, I was born and raised in Haiti. So when I moved to America, when I was in high school, I really didn't have a mentor to guide me. What's the next step? So then I went to a program for nursing, and so happened to be in Kentucky, but I live in Miami, Florida. So it's somewhere in Kentucky. I believe it was in Lexington, Kentucky for nursing. So I've completed the nursing program within 6 months. I was one of the students that completed the program in short amount of time. So they saw potential in me, and one of the doctors that was there that worked at the clinic, he said, you don't stop there. I need you to continue. So he invited me. He took me to 3 universities, which was Lexington, Kentucky, Louisville, Kentucky, and then K-State. So when I got to K-State, I felt the presence. I felt welcome. And I was like, and it's a HBCU, and the people there were very friendly, and I was like, I can relate and I can fit in, so I chose Kentucky State University.
All right, go ahead, Damon.
Okay. Did
Put my shirt on.
It's Mark's turn.
It's Mark's turn, yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mark. I'm sorry.
No worries. So I'm originally from Gary, Indiana, and the band director had come up to my high school and did auditions, and he invited me to come down to Kentucky State. So knew nothing about HBCU life, nothing about Kentucky State. Was looking to stay in state. If anybody knows anything about music, IU was the premier music school at that time, Indiana University. But they recruited me hard to come down to Kentucky State, and that's where I went. And I was there, and it was a great experience. So I'm sure we'll get into that, but it was a great band experience. Was was exactly what I needed, as well as all the other activities that I'm sure we'll talk about.
Okay. Well, I love how each person always has their own journey of how they got to the HBCU. Everyone has different backgrounds, and I love even here how we have different graduation years. So you all got to experience Kentucky State at different times. So I do want to go ahead and let's get into campus life. Like, what was life like at Kentucky State University? Some of y'all was
No.
some of you all, or what was it like?
Well, I think somebody mentioned family, and the thing that attracted me, I got there in '86, but I paid for my own school, so it took me a little longer than most. So I didn't graduate till I sat out, came back, went to school, but the family environment was there. It was like being at home. I mean, so everyone was welcoming. There was a lot of ethnicity, whether it be Asian or black or white. There's just a lot of. It was a good melting pot back then when I was there when I started in '86, and even when I finished, it was just all about diversity. And that's one of the things that they taught as a melting pot at the university.
Okay. All right. Who wants to
And
go?
yeah, in 83 to 87, while I was there, the President Burst was the president at the time, and we had a very, very robust campus life. Every day at noon, the the gauntlet was to make it to the cafeteria without being, as we called, everybody know it, being called Joan on, or joked on, but Joan on. So it was a very, as Mark said, cohesive, friendly atmosphere, which is why many of us have relationships to this day. But it was incredible. It's campus on campus, and back then, homecoming was actually held on the campus. So a homecoming, the campus would pretty much for homecoming would probably start shutting down on Tuesday or Thursday. Tuesday or Wednesday, because by Thursday you couldn't even get through campus from Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. It was just too packed. So all the step shows were on campus. Everything was on campus. The after parties were on campus. So it was a fishbowl that wasn't spread out like it is now, where stuff is downtown and that kind of thing is spread out all over Frankfort. Everything was right there in the fishbowl on the campus. So that made sure that everybody got to know each other extremely well. Sometimes you got to know people, got to know more than you wanted to know.
Okay.
Right.
That part.
I think I can agree with that one. I think I can coincide with everybody said. I think one of the things I used to like to do is like there used to be alumni that would come up, because that's when I think I remember back when we first got the Chick-fil-A in the student center, and they would always come up and tell the stories of how they never had some of the stuff that we had, some of the same privileges that we had.
Right.
So that was one of the things I used to like talking to alumni, because they would say like, yeah, we had it. They would talk about the bowling alley that they used to have that I feel like we still should have had down there, but I mean, hey, that's neither here nor there.
My generation.
Yeah. So yeah. So we it was good to see like the different, like right now, like the different comparisons of the different years on certain things they had and privileges that they had that we no longer had, or things that we had that they didn't get a chance to experience. So it was kind of like that. But far as like just the campus life was, I guess the real question is, did we have fun? And it was definitely fun, but the campus life itself, there were experiences that I think that helped me grow as a person, that helped me like gain relationships with people, and the dorm life to an extent was very, very fun. And I think that just the atmosphere on Kentucky State's campus. I even think we even had, I'm not sure what everybody else's experience was, we even had a different level of camaraderie when it came to professors and doctors as well. I think that was some of the things that I experienced there. So it was a lot of fun. I do think, I'm not sure if going to the cafeteria when he talked about getting joned on, we did that inside the cafeteria. So And I'm not sure if you were on the way there. I mean, you just had to be ready when you got in there. That is what I did though. So I learned that real fast. So it was fun.
So, and I'm curious, was it just like a thing where you on the way to the calf and people just started just joking on you if you didn't get to the calf by a certain time, or like what was that about?
See, there was areas out there that you sat outside. You could sit outside going into the cafeteria. There was benches on the side, couches, and then there was like concrete little steps and seats. And everybody sat outside going into the cafeteria. So if anything happened, it was going to happen on the way to the calf. Or if something happened, it spilled out from the calf out into wherever, because everybody had to come in the same way, almost without exception. So you saw everything.
And then like back then, yeah, because you used to be the while when I was there, you could drive around. Like I know now they got the little flag and stuff there or whatever, but you can drive around into the cab all the way down there where
Right.
the
Down by the
all
library.
what was that? What was that? Hunter? That's not
Jackson
Hunter.
Hall.
That's Chandler. Yeah, all of them. It used to be to drive. Yeah, so you can drive all of down there. So they probably had other stuff down there, but you
The
can drive
exits.
there. And so you can drive through there. All of that. I mean, you can just drive up. So what people would do was, especially if you had a bad car, if you was sitting down there and you was watching everybody drive through and they didn't have a messed up car, it was a bad day. So I mean, you didn't want to be that person in the car with your car messed up. Just say that.
For me to answer your question, it could be a Tuesday.
I remember those days.
It really didn't matter what the issue was. It could have been a random Tuesday, and they would have been joning regardless. It's just the way it was. I was going to the music room, so I was always coming in one door, and there are no seats over there, so I didn't have to deal with that. Let's see. I'm sorry, what was the question again?
Oh no, just what was campus life like for you at your time at Kentucky State? Mm-hmm.
Well, when I was there, everything was kind of in-house. As Damon mentioned about homecoming, there was, just everything was in-house. So we had parties on the campus every Friday and Saturday, unless somebody got into a fight too many times, and then they were canceled. People came from all over the state to come to our parties, and so we got to meet people. We got to experience so many different things. A lot of famous people would come for convocation, so it was like totally worth going to the convocations that they had. I happened to be there for many, many years. So as my dad started teaching there right after I was born, I saw the transformation. So I know Kentucky State under Damon. I know Kentucky State under Mark. I know Kentucky State under the other young man that just spoke. I know that was Kentucky States as well because of my time being in the city and growing up here. So I also was Miss Kentucky State University in 95, 96 too. So I got the opportunity to reign as the queen there. And so my appreciation for the school itself became even more intense. I know the history. I know the Cheney Plaza was Dr. Cheney was my neighbor. Exum Gym, Dr. Exum was my neighbor. Mary Levi Smith Clock, she was my neighbor and the president during my tenure at Kentucky State. So I have a very close connection, but I just want to piggyback on what they said about that family issue. The teachers, there'll be times if you didn't come to class, they would call you. It's a small campus, so it enables you to have more of a one-on-one and a personal relationship with the students that are in your classes. So I still go to dinner with my professors. As I have had to move back to help care for my father, I still have connections with those that are still on, if somebody is still on campus, which is not that many. But that family atmosphere is definitely what I experienced. And I hate that some of the students, as times have gone on, things have changed within that. But everything that was popping was on campus all the time. We did not have Chick-fil-A. I was jealous. I just want to put that out there, sir.
Kimber, you brought up a good point because about 2 years ago, pre-COVID, my wife and I, who's also a Kentucky State graduate, we were on campus. And normally homecoming, Friday noon, the fraternities were there. You saw them stepping, you saw them singing their songs, you saw them doing whatever it was. There would be one person at Friday noon before homecoming on campus.
Yep.
And I asked him, and I said, where's everybody at? Don't know, probably in their room. So that whole family environment, and it seems like it's across many campuses, not just maybe something at Kentucky State, that family environment is just not there anymore. So, it's eroded, and I wish that would come back, only to our university, but to other ones as well.
Yeah, as Mark has mentioned, on Friday at noon, 83 to 87, 86 when he got there might be 5,000 people on campus. So to go from 5,000 on campus to one is a drastic, cultural difference.
5,000 back then. Now you're saying on campus there are only about 1,000 students.
I'm talking on a homecoming Friday at noon.
Yeah, homecoming, yes.
Nothing. So right now,
not on a random Friday.
Activities are held off campus, so it's decentralized, so it dispersed quite a bit. At that time, every activity was centralized on the campus. So the campus was shut down. You couldn't drive through it because there was too many people. So on a Friday, a Saturday, it might be 5,000 people because Mark said, the fraternities, sororities out there stepping. So it's 5,000 people, but a lot of those activities now held off campus. So it's kind of decentralized, kind of, you got to kind of run and find things right now. All you had to do was walk out of your dorm room back then, and it was on. Now you got to go find stuff.
Right.
And then I'm curious, what was it? Just something that they changed with the campus? Or they, instead of doing everything that they wanted to spread it out, or did it just kind of just gradually, like one event at a time, and kind of happen, or like what was the transition between the times?
I would say leadership changed things over time as we've had different presidents and different people that were over the school. A lot of different mindsets came in, and it just the atmosphere for the students is very, very different. I mean, they don't even have parties on campus. And as Damon was saying, as Mark said, he's talking about any Friday, any random Friday of the year would have a bunch of people on campus at the flagpole stepping, or just out there, talking, people walking by, watching. It was always lively and upbeat. That's a random Friday. Things changed over the years, and so a lot of that atmosphere has shifted. And I would like to say that we had patty melts, young man. We had patty melts. You guys didn't have those, but we had patty melts. Just wanted to put that out there for your little Chick-fil-A and Starbucks and stuff. But yeah, it was totally different, and I loved it. I actually fell in love. I fell in love with K-State probably in my second sophomore year.
It took that long?
That part.
But I fell in love with the school, and I can tell you things that people probably didn't even notice, random things that enabled me to I still look for them when I come back. I look for the wind as you walk past Hathaway Hall. We had these little bars that you could hold on to, and the wind in a fall or spring time would create sounds through those bars. They would whistle. They would actually make musical kind of notes. It's just some random things about that school that made the history and the atmosphere a part of my life. And it's not something that I could easily let go of, even as I've gotten older and moved on. So
I'll bring this back to some of our old heads. You remember when the clock used to ring on the hour, every hour?
Yes.
Yep. They don't do that no more. Yep.
Yeah.
This is I mean, it's interesting hearing the different things. You know, like I said, you all experienced Kentucky State at different periods and saw the different transitions. You know, I'm curious too. Were they doing like I don't know if you all even have this, but like the Soul Food Wednesday, the Fried Chicken Wednesday, Fish Friday, were they doing that back then too?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Our
Steak
cafeteria
dinner.
was awesome. I mean, we had good camp people and people that had
Yeah.
been there 20, 30, 40 years. I mean, grandma was in there making chess pie, making pecan pie. She was in there doing it, doing her thing, teaching some of the other workers. I mean, it was good. I mean, and then it was always trying to be better. So, but yeah, they definitely had all of that.
Uh, you know, it's interesting
Yeah.
because earlier today we put up a post on our Instagram. So it was a tweet from someone, and they were saying like, who started the fried chicken Wednesday tradition, and everyone's in the comments like, don't question things, just know, and so it is what it is. You know, don't worry about it. So,
We had steak dinners on a certain night. I was there every time. I have to disagree with Mark. I couldn't stand the calf. So it was just not delicious. I was not going in there on a regular basis.
See, you could go
But
home and eat. Some of us
steak
were
dinner and fried
300
chicken,
miles away.
whatever day. I
You
want to say
know,
it might have been fried chicken Tuesday instead of Wednesday back when we were in school. But we had one. And yeah, I'm telling you, that steak dinner, when I tell you it was wrapped around all outside,
I
out the
bet.
long way to get outside of the doors that day, man, we used to kill it. It was good times, good times.
I think I got tricked because what they do is like when you take a tour, I think they put like the best chef in the caf. That's what they do. They put they I think they hire a chef for that day, and then they put him in there, and then you thinking like, oh man, this is nice. Like, and then you start like you start attending classes there, and it's like they put the other chef, the full time chef, they put him back in, and then like it was never the same. Like
Uh,
it up into that. I feel like I got like bamboozled into joining. Like you know how you get like tricked into like buying something, and then you finally get it home. You like, well, I want to return this, and they
real
return
thing.
policy. Yeah, it's just all messed up. That's how I felt like when because like half of it, like it was okay, and then like for some reason, like I think like we got different administration, and people start to I don't know what happened, but I know we had different contracts with different vendors, and certain things fell through, and I mean, but yeah, I think I got tricked. So I think half of my years there were like decent, and the other half wasn't that good. But I mean, everybody's experience is different. I mean, we had stuff. Sometimes you walk in there from like Exum or something, and you be super hungry. You be like, wow. And back then we had flex, and so you could go out there to Chick-fil-A or the grill, whatever. You don't have no more flex. So if you was anybody like myself who used it all in the first week, then you don't have nothing left. So you were just kind of like depending on the calf, and you walk in there, and then just the smell of it, you like, yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and go home. So it was a little different. It was a little
You know
different.
what?
see, we didn't have all that. We bought the meal plan, and
Well,
that was it. And you had
my
your
years
room.
were the cafeteria was good.
oh,
Yeah.
good. I am
What
so thankful that somebody can
The
say that.
cafeteria was good for
I'm about
me
to say?
because
Yeah.
my year they used to have different stations. They have the grill, they had the stir fry, they had the barbecue on the other side. So you had plenty of section. You had plenty of choice to choose from. So
Yeah.
I had it good my year. So I don't know
Mhm.
about you.
The
Well,
remnants of that is there.
well,
We see the stations, but they don't have
Yep,
anybody back there doing that
they
anymore.
sure
It's
didn't
not delicious
before.
there now. I'm gonna tell you now. It was nasty to me back then. But I would go in there every blue moon. But the grill was where we went because
Oh
we would hang out.
no.
We talked
Yeah,
mad junk I mean, as he
the
was
grill was
saying
different.
about
Yeah,
Jonan, we talked mad junk in the grill. I mean, somebody come in looking a mess. It was Jones. They would make up songs and everybody bust out laughing. A few fights, not a lot, and but just funny, great times. And the grill had the older people that would, had been there for 25 years as well cooking. So that's usually where we
yeah.
went. That was just the burgers and fries and wings. When they got wings, we were like, oh snap! It was like a big thing back then. So yeah, those were good times.
I was gonna say I see somebody in the comments here was saying the calf was good and they didn't even go to K State. So, and they said Murphy was off the chain and they all
Yes,
put
sir.
transferred through the
Almost transferred off the food.
well,
Look, can I say this? May I just say that we were
I know who's coming in on this one.
we were thugs when I was in school. They had to change the people that were over the calf when we were in school because we like were going to boycott. That's how bad it was. I'm not making stuff up. I remember it was pretty terrible. So, but I'm happy that somebody had a good cafeteria
right.
experience.
Someone said no one is going to mention our version of the grill.
uh,
What's our version of the grill?
Oh,
they probably
what I
could
said, the patty
probably.
melts right now. I'm telling you, I can make you one and you'd be like, oh my gosh, that is so delicious. Yes, it was. We spent a lot of time in there.
I agree.
And you know, one thing I think is range true for. I mean, I guess really any HBCU campus is that cap. Like it really is like.
Right there.
It's not,
I
okay,
think
yeah,
it's an
it's
echo.
okay. Yeah, I was getting a little feedback. I was like, does anything? Okay, yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's really that family atmosphere. Like for you all's experience, it was you all were zoning on each other, which I think was you know it's interesting. We didn't really have that at Tuskegee. Maybe they did back in the day, but we didn't have that. I came out in 2012, so I was there from '07 to 2012. But I mean, like I said, like that's interesting. But I think definitely like the CAF experience, even with the relationships that you build in the CAF, and of course, I think we all can kind of the cafeteria food is never really you know the best except on certain occasions. But I do I want to get into what you all did post graduation. And Mark too, I'm thinking maybe your wife, since you said you met her, it'd be great to have her if she wants to come join the interview with us too. Was that her that waved for you?
Yeah, that was. So yeah, I'll text her and tell her to come in. But no, post. We'll go. I'll let somebody else talk, and then I'll grab her.
Okay. Yeah, we was just talking about like what was life like for you after college? Where did your degree take you? What are some things that you did after graduation?
I ended up going to graduate school, and I didn't even know what graduate school was. Thanks to Mr. Ron Banks, who was over making sure that students got internships, jobs, things of that nature. And one of my biology professors, at some point, maybe my maybe my senior year, asked me if I was going to graduate school, and I think I said, "What's that?" And I had no clue. And so she said, "You got the grades. You might want to try graduate school." So she sent me over to talk to my good buddy Ron Banks. I think, well, I know he and I are both Virgos. I can remember his birthday on September 13th, same day as mine. But so he ended up getting me a full ride scholarship to because of my academic scholarship to Bowling Green State University in Ohio. And then after I left Bowling Green State University in Ohio, I had also gone through the ROTC program at Kentucky State University. So I'd become an officer in the Army Corps of Engineers. And so after I finished at Bowling Green, I owed the Army some time. So I had to complete my officer engineer basic course at Fort Belvoir, Virginia. So fall of spring, Mother's Day, matter of fact, of 1989, graduated from Bowling Green State University, ended up going to DC, Fort Belvoir, Virginia, matriculating through the engineering school there. And then after that, I was actually going to come back to the University of Cincinnati and go to law school. But then I ended up, I pledged in 1985, I pledged, of course, the Majestic Psi Psi chapter, Kentucky State University, Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. And so some frat brothers who I was hanging out with in the summer of '89, after I finished the engineer school, I was going to leave and go back to Cincinnati and go to law school. and they would not let me leave. So a brother who became a lifelong friend, Rod Montz from, I think he went to Wayne State University, another HBCU, and he said, him and a couple other buddies, they said, "You're not leaving." I said, I don't. Hey, I just finished my engineer school. I don't have a job here. They said, "Well, you'll stay with Rod." Matter of fact, Rod also was the manager at a restaurant. So Rod fed me every day. So these fraternity brothers, about 3 or 4 fraternity brothers, looked at me literally and said, "You got one job. That's to find a job, and we have you. We take care of you from that point forward." No, I don't see that. Did I fall off? Okay. Did I come back?
Oh yeah,
Yes.
you back.
Okay. All right. I don't know what happened there. Okay. So so Rod Montz, he ran a Roy Rogers restaurant. So he fed me every day. And they basically said, "You got one job, find a job." I found a job in 4 months. They took care of me every day, then moved me into my first apartment. And 30 years later, I'm still in the DC area. I was a pharmaceutical rep. Then I've been a real estate agent for 20 years, a broker for about 8 years. So I own Moats Realty in DC. So it's been a good run, the 30 years here in DC, the DC, Maryland, Virginia area.
Okay. All right. So what about let's go to you, Kimba. You want to go next?
Oh, well, when I graduated, I went to Atlanta. I decided I had graduated with a degree in music education. So from my educational standpoint, I went on to get 2 master's degrees, one in music and one in instructional technology. But I had always had a passion to perform. And I got all of that tutoring from Kentucky State. And as a matter of fact, as Damon mentioned about people joning, my first time on stage at Kentucky State University, I was booed off the stage. I'm talking boo, boo. They booed. And I was so confused and I was so devastated. And I ended up, when I ran for Miss Kentucky State University, I got a standing ovation. So I could pretty much get up in front of anybody at any place at any time and have no fear. And I embarked on, I met some people that were into jazz. I had a passion for it when I was at K-State. And by meeting some of the people in Atlanta, I ended up journeying overseas, performing in South America, in Asia. I've performed with the greats as Wynton Marsalis to Wycliffe Gordon to Bernard Lynette, who was played drums for quite a few famous people back in the day, and really made my mark on that genre of music. So when I won Best Jazz Vocalist of Atlanta, and then I did a lot of pageants while I was there too, and I did pageants afterwards. So Miss Black Kentucky, Miss Black Ohio, just a lot of different things over the years of time. But K-State taught me, and it gave me the strength inside and externally to do a lot of things. And I guess what I would say, what I'm most proud of are my students. I have a lot of students who have embarked on music as well. And they are professional singers, professional rappers, professional managers for other artists that are out there. And they wheel and deal in the big wigs. And I just happen to get to go sometimes to their events and all. But I'm very proud of those students. I taught in Atlanta for 17 years.
Wow. Okay. And I want to touch on some points here that you all have kind of mentioned it, but I'll let everyone know. So let's go to you, Charles.
Yeah, so I like my journey because it wasn't the most conventional way. Usually what they used to tell us, they say you'll get out of college, you find a job, and you get the American dream. Didn't necessarily happen that way, not in that order at least. It took me a little while to get my career going. I started to actually go to grad school. I did grad school for about a semester and a half, and this is back when you had to get qualified. You know, you had to take the GRE and get the right score, and not a standardized test maker or taker, I should say. That was not my thing to achieve a certain score, so I never did take that. I actually didn't go back to grad school, even though I could have finished, and then transitioned into the workforce. And I worked for Nabisco cookies. I used to have all the cookies, so everybody used to come to my apartment because I had all the free cookies, and I had all the new snacks, the good snacks. So if you, especially around holiday season, I had all of the good snacks. And so somebody mentioned Ron Banks. Ron Banks was actually the person who ended up getting me that job specifically, and I had that job for about 3 years. After that, I transitioned into state government, where I currently am now. I work in grants, and I did not get my degree in grants or anything dealing with grants. I got my degree in business marketing, and it ultimately led me to get a job at the state. So I like how my journey was, because it was kind of unconventional. It wasn't anything in my background that I had, and even currently working in state government, it's not in necessarily what I got my degree in. But what I love about what K-State taught me is a lot of people nowadays, they have a misconception on, you know, going to college and stuff like that, and, you know, put you in debt and all these different things that they have opinions on, which is totally fine. But that piece of paper that you work so hard to get you in the door for you to be creative, for you to use your own abilities to get what, you know, what was instilled in you from the beginning when you were born. So it helps you express your talent in many different ways. So I always tell people, it may not be what you actually majored in, but that degree kind of gets you in the door to express your true talents and the things that you desire to do. So currently, that's what I do currently. But currently now, I'm actually going back to finish my master's. I'm getting my master's in nutrition. I'm getting it through Logan University, but it's K-State just happened to be that trampoline to help push the different things that I actually have desire for that's inside of me. So that's basically my journey after K-State. I along with the other gentlemen on the line, I did marry somebody that went to K-State as well. It just probably wasn't the story. We didn't know each other then, but anyway, different story, different time. Tell it later, but okay.
Yeah, I mean, no, it's interesting. I love seeing the HBCU love. I love it. And you know, like you mentioned, Charles, everybody's journey is different. You know, some people they graduate and they may have it all figured out, and then some people will graduate and life takes them in a whole different direction. And so, you know, it is what it is. You know, but at the end of the day, you're doing what you're supposed to do. So, yeah, and I want to I see Stacey Humes. I definitely want to address that next. I have a comment about alumni associations, but before we get to that, let's go to let's see, Damon, do you want to go?
I think it's Mark or
Mark, okay.
the other young lady's turn.
I'm sorry. Okay, let's go, Mark. Yeah.
All right. Well, after I left K-State, my degree was in music education. I think I said education earlier, but what I was able to do was teach for a while in the Indianapolis public school systems, and then I ended up moving to Raleigh, North Carolina area, and that's where I'm currently at for the last 20 years. And you know, like the other gentleman was saying about how, you know, the education degree opened up the door. What I was able to do was simply, I've had a sales background since I was probably 19. And I went into work for an IT company, Cisco Systems. You guys probably have heard of it. This past October, I qualified for an early retirement, even though I'm not old enough. They thought by 1 week I could qualify. So I took the early retirement in the middle of COVID. I just relaxed and took about 6 months to refresh and recharge myself. And I haven't been doing anything. But then I just recently went back to IT and, you know, work for Lenovo. So running their services organization for the West Coast from the whole West and supporting that team there doing that work. So, but, you know, again, if it wasn't for Kentucky State and the education degree and being able previously, while I was at my former company, Cisco, the diversity that I experienced at Kentucky State allowed me to travel the world over the last probably 4 years. Went everywhere from Dubai to Johannesburg, South Africa, to Prague. And I was in the presence of, been in the presence of kings, queens, parliament, things like that. I've been in the presence of a lot just from knowing how to be in the diverse cultures, and I got that foothold and that impression from Kentucky State. So still active in the music, still play as often as I can, whether it's at the local church or out in the club or somewhere that someone might ask me to come sit in or something at an open mic night or something. But I'm still involved heavily with music, but owe a lot to Kentucky State. So again, that was the foundation, and that was just the centerpiece of everything at that time that gave me the necessary tools just to get where I am today.
All right. And then let's go to you, Marie.
Okay, I was muted, so I had to unmute myself. So my life after K-State. Well, I'm gonna quickly answer the last question because I didn't get a chance to answer it. I was extremely active at K-State. I was a Golden Girl dancer and choreographer. So throughout my dancing career, I was studying nursing. And during the time that I was studying nursing, I would do a lot of different gigs, modeling gigs, acting gigs, while I was in college. So then I fell in love with acting and dancing and modeling. So then I've decided to switch my major my junior year, which pushed me back a year. So I changed my major to general business, specialized in business administration. And right after I graduated, I didn't move back home, which is Florida, Miami, Florida. So I stayed. I was working with the social work department at K-State University with Zoe Ellington. So I did another year. Then I moved back home. I got married. And from there, I started to work at a college part-time as a math instructor. So then while I was doing part-time, I didn't really want a full-time job because I know my passion was acting, dancing, and hosting shows. So so I worked there at Miami-Dade while I'm pursuing the other things that makes me feel a little better about myself. Because you sometimes you study something, but this is not really your passion. But after I graduated, so I'm doing different movies. I appear in different American movies such as 3D, Four-Step 3Ds, and The Cookout. And then I switched myself into the Haitian industry because I wanted to serve my community. And I started getting main roles as in the movie. I've done 4 different movies, and I'm still currently working in different projects. I have a TV show called Island Gospel Time, which air 5 to 6 times within the week. And I dance professionally with different artists on stage. I choreograph for them. I'm a co-founder of a nonprofit organization called Arts IL, which mainly support the youth educationally, and we focus on arts, dancing, theater. My sister, she's a theater major, so she was basically that was her department and the nonprofit organization. I have a dance studio, which I opened back in 2016, and I'm finally having a place for it, a physical place where I'm ready to serve kids to adults. And so that's pretty much what I do. And my kids are involved. I just finished a CVS commercial, and my whole family is in it. And we just got a call for Disney. So I'm hoping we close that deal as well. And my kid's going to be part of that as well. So we're more like a entertainment family. My kids are YouTubers, so we keep them involved. They play the instrument. They love the instrument. They all play the piano. My oldest started playing piano at 2 years old, and he's now 10. And I also have a 7-year-old. He started at 3 years old, and I have a 6 years old. He started at 4-year-old, and my 2-year-old daughter, she's more into pageant. So we are like a family of entertainment. I did end up getting my master's in higher education while I was pregnant with my third baby. So, and I'm continuing to serve the community. I'm involved. I'm a board member of the Homestead Women Club of Homestead, where we serve the community besides my nonprofit organization. So I stay busy.
K-State. Yeah.
K-State.
The creativeness and the diverse interests and backgrounds and things that you all do. I love it. I see we have a question. Stacey Williams asks, how involved are the alumni associations in the recruitment and retention of students at K-State?
I can go first with that one. I was president of the Atlanta chapter for the Alumni Association there. So we did quite a few at one point under Dr. Sias's leadership. They actually asked the different chapters to go to these events that they had in the different cities, because if you had a big chapter in Detroit and in DC or what have you, they would have the alumni to go to these recruiting situations and inspire young people to want to come to K-State. So that is something that we did. I have never done anything more than that aside from those students that came from the Atlanta area or even Georgia. We would try to locate them, and I started us creating care packages for those students that were already there. But what I did do is I came back a lot, and I was active in the National Alumni Association for several years, until I've seemed to have to do a lot of caregiving from different family members that have gotten ill in the last 5 years. But I've been very active in the Atlanta and National, and trying to. When I went to get my first master's, I noticed that everything in that whole city had a respect for Northern Illinois University. Everything in the city had NIU this and NIU that. And it reminded me of Frankfort, because the biggest store that was that's in DeKalb, Illinois, is Walmart, and that's what ours is too. And so I was just like, man, I'm living in the summers working on this master's in Frankfort, in another state. I should be actively involved in the alumni so we can get our school as prominent as this one is in the community. And so that's what prompted me to get involved with the Alumni Association, and I have been a part of it ever since. So I do, for anyone that is listening or is out there, I inspire you to, even if you can't make it, and I know how it is sometimes when you started having children or you have family obligations or you're working travel, but if you can't make it, send in your little $25 or $50, depending on what city you're closest to help, so that we can help others. I will say also that we did give scholarships to students that were at Kentucky State.
And I've been involved with the Alumni Association here in the DC, Maryland, Virginia area for the entire 30 years I've been here. So that's a critical part of what we need to do as alumni support, and physically and financially.
Yep. And I can say, about 2 years ago, I became a life member of the Alumni Association for Kentucky State. Still trying to work with the university at a national level, and also trying to be involved here in North Carolina to try to get we're working on, there's a regional aspect, maybe North and South Carolina. There's a bunch of alumni here in the state, and we want to make sure they're tied in as well. So that's someone else is spearheading that. But again, trying to offer assistance where needed as well.
Okay. And I definitely think it's important, because we go through our time on campus, and for a lot of times, that alumni, I don't want to speak for everyone, but I know even like me, like I want to do a better job at really getting active and really reaching back out to the students on campus now, because you know things have changed. You know, there may be things on campus that they need, that maybe as alumni, we can assist with. You know, maybe some things that we just don't know about, and even just having those conversations with them. I know we did a session on Instagram. I think it was last week. We did a session, and it's a show called the Yard Link Up, and we bring on different student leaders. We you know, last week we had an incoming HBCU student, and it was interesting because actually going to a different HBCU, Delaware State, but her mom had messaged us, and her mom had messaged us and was saying how she was getting a lot of backlash from.
Can someone put their phones on mute? It's a lot of feedback that you're talking. Can we go back to mute for us until you ask us again?
Okay.
Okay. So.
Okay. Oops. Okay. Oh, I think okay. Maybe she'll have back. Okay. What about now? Is it good now? Okay. Yeah.
It may have been her line, so she's gonna come back on.
Okay. But yeah, no, and then she was saying how she was getting a lot of backlash from family members and people who were thinking that she should have went to maybe like a PWI or something like that versus going to an HBCU. And so we just had a conversation with her about, you know, just really pouring into her and letting her know, like, look, this is a great decision you made, you know, and it's all about you. Like, this is something that she really wanted to do. So I always think it's important, you know, really to pour back into the students that are on campus as well. Let's see, I'm reading a few more of the comments here. Damon hosted the biggest alumni event in the nation at his house for years. Okay, shout out to you, Damon. Okay, they said the sound.
That must have been an attendee.
Okay, here it goes. Okay, there we go. Kimba is back. Okay. Yeah, so I want to, as we get ready to it's been a great conversation. As we get ready to wrap this up, I do want to ask for all of our, especially the student leaders. I know Kimba, you were Miss KSU, and then Marie dancing and everything. And then even if you all had other leadership positions, how were you all really able to balance, you know, being a student leader and just having a social life and keeping it all together?
Well, we didn't want to be on academic probation for one.
You have to be organized. Oh, okay.
So, you know, it's you know, like Kimber said, your instructors will call you. They had your number. They would either call the dorm or they would find you, or they would even, a couple times, they'd even pull you out of class. Some other instructors, they would come by there and just pull you out. I need to talk to them, or I need to talk to her. But you just were there to take care of business. There wasn't any playtime. You knew what you had to do. And if you were able to do extracurricular, like I was in a band, and it was usually the band of the football team or the band of the basketball team. In '86, the band was the premier organization on campus because it was probably the biggest. I mean, we had over 120 people at that time, which led us to start, you know, Kappa Psi. I was one of the Genesis line to start. It took us 3 years to get a chapter at Kentucky State. So I was one of those founding members, but you just had to learn how to juggle. I mean, you had to multitask. And if you didn't, you weren't there the next semester. You really quickly got in check.
And you know, I think that's something Stacy said. Thank you. Her son is a freshman this year, praying he has a positive.
Myself.
Definitely, and hopefully, God will able to help you with that, Stacy. And you know, definitely connect with these alum on here. We'll see if we can put their we'll have everyone drop their social media information. But go ahead, Marie.
Oh, well, I was just saying you have to use your time wisely, which is what I did. Doing work study hours, if I'm not dealing with anyone, I took that time to do my homework, study. And then if I'm done with my homework and I'm done with my studying, I'll be in the dance studio coming up with routines. So then when it's time for me to teach the dancers, when we're ready to practice, I'm not just now coming up with the routine so I don't look crazy and look dumb as if I'm just now coming up with the steps. So I use my time wisely. I'm not saying I didn't party. We party whenever it's party on campus. The girls, we're there having a good time. But when it comes to our education, our homework, we make sure that we were on point, because especially the dorm that I was living at, I had to keep a certain GPA in order to stay in that dorm room. And eventually I ended up moving off campus because I wanted to feel the off campus vibe, which I wasn't too far away from campus. So use your time wisely when you're in school. Don't get distracted with unnecessary things. Stay focused.
Mm. And that's one thing I love too. I want to add, Mark, I know you said this before. You were saying that how the professors would, if you don't show up to class, like they would come knocking on doors and just really making sure that you were there. And that's one thing I love about the HBCU culture. Like the professors, they really do care about your success. You're not just a number. And it's not, like they really want you to succeed. So go ahead. Who wanted to go next?
I'll just chime.
You go ahead.
I'll just chime in and say that I recommend that they try to get with the right people, because peer pressure is real at that age and even at this age. So if you hang around the wrong people at this age, there's going to be consequences. And if you hang around at my age right now, which is 55, and if you hang around the wrong people at 17, which is when I got to campus, I was 17, there will be consequences. So I think that it was hanging around the right people, which were people who wanted to stay in school, because there are a lot of people who are, there are a number of people who may only be there for a semester or a year that really not committed to, sticking it out. So I think the key is definitely as quickly as possible for freshmen to latch on to friends, because peer pressure. You're gonna have your professors, all the other adults, but your influence is definitely gonna be those people you start to hang around and call friends. And if you hang around people who want to be there, you're going to be there. If you hang around people who don't want to be there, your time might be short. And that's in any university, but that would be my 2 cents.
Okay, and then go ahead, Charles. I think you were going to say something earlier.
Yeah, I mean, I could agree with what everybody said about the time management and hang around the appropriate people for sure. I had the privilege to be a part of a student government executive board for 2 years. I was there, and one of the things that I know we try to tell, especially upcoming or incoming freshmen, is always utilizing your time, but also too utilizing resources. So one of the things we didn't necessarily, one of the things that I found that helped me was, I know we had ACE, and ACE was one of the best things that kind of ever happened to me. ACE was probably the reason why I made it out of the freshman year, really, because if I wasn't in there trying to get answers on certain questions to problems, and when it came to schoolwork, which is, if you don't know what ACE is our facility where you have tutors and different things accessible to you to help you out with schoolwork. But one of the things that I just think in this particular generation is helping them understand that they have certain resources that they can utilize. Sometimes, not knowing the resources that are available hinders a person. And usually, if you were anything like some of the freshmen I was around or myself, you was just happy to be there. Just happy to be there that you made it. I mean, I was happy to be a number because it gave me opportunity. But I mean, that's just me. But yeah, you want to utilize a lot of the resources that's around you. And I think that a lot of times, I mean, like the other gentleman was talking about, having certain people around you that are doing the same thing you are. Because I mean, I know we all can speak from being a freshman and watching people around you just dwindle, and you don't see them no more. So when your senior year gets around, you barely with the class you were with. When you first came in, a lot of people dropped off, and sometimes it was due to different other financial reasons, and it could be due to anything that happens in life. But I would definitely suggest utilizing a lot of the resources that is around you.
I love it. That's great advice. Great advice, and especially this is I think students, the incoming freshmen, if they're not already, I think a lot of them are starting to get on campus now. So it's great advice for them, and definitely to wrap this up. Last question that I want to ask you all. We will feedback again. Um, okay, yeah. So last question I do want to ask you all is what was, and it's probably maybe one or two of the life lessons that you learned from Kentucky State University that you carried on to this day?
Well, I can say that when I was with the band, it was something called CCPOE. It was from a instructor called Dr. Roosevelt Shelton, who was our chair at that time. And he is now retired from Kentucky State a few years ago. But CCPOE stands for Class Character and the Pursuit of Excellence. So that's something that he specifically drilled in us. And I know Kimba knows that as well. And if anybody who's listening, they knew they were in the band, they knew because that slogan has lived on since then. But and also, character is not what you do in the light when everybody's looking, but it's what you do in the dark when no one's looking. So those two things were instrumental and have been like a guiding light, if you will, that I've never forgotten from the university. And I will say one other quick thing is that in my travels, I was able to go to Nelson Mandela's house. Well, oddly enough, back when I was there in 92, I think it was 91, maybe, we gave an honorary degree to Nelson Mandela. And when I walked into his house, it's a museum now, it's on the wall of his home and part of that museum. So everybody who goes there can see Kentucky State in Nelson Mandela's house. And that still to this day, it chokes me up. And I'm proud of our university that we were able to do that. But that's the only honorary degree. That's the only thing like that is represented in his home. And it's from Kentucky State.
Okay.
And I would say, go ahead, Kimba. You're on mute.
Okay. Can you hear me now? Okay. As a leader, I didn't know I was a leader. I came to Kentucky State. I knew I had to graduate. I was graduating. I came from educators. I came from a whole neighborhood of educators, but I went there kind of green, if you will. And I discovered and found myself there. And so I don't have any problems kind of joking on how long I stayed at the school, because what I did have was a purpose. I was going to graduate regardless of what anything else. It didn't even matter. I knew I was going into that school to come out with a degree. Onward and upward is one of our slogans. And I think that as you continue to grow at this school, it builds you up to become that onward. But when you graduate from that school, it's where you're supposed to go upward. And you empower and inspire other people if they go to your school or not. I love for young people to go to HBCUs. If you don't want to come to Kentucky State, and I had a really hard time getting people to want to come to Kentucky, period. And you have Spelman, Morehouse, Clark in Atlanta. They were not trying to hear me. But what I did find is that if I could just get you into an HBCU and you can have that experience, you could see the cultural differences about how each one, there are certain things that are very similar in all HBCUs. But one thing is they empower you to become better. And you'll find someone at that school that's going to love you through the worst parts of times of your life, especially in growing up and becoming an adult. You're going to find friends that you will have for the rest of your life. They don't go anywhere because they understand you. They understand the you that you became once you graduated, which is an adult. What I would inspire anyone else to think about is to enjoy everything you can while you're in school. Enjoy the atmosphere. Enjoy laughing about the calf. You know, these are things that in the very beginning, we all had different experiences, but we were all able to laugh about what that particular one experience was at that school. And I just think that if you're in a place where you're at the school now, or you're at any HBCU, put everything you can into it. I when I graduated from Kentucky, I was in the choir, so we had a standard of excellence. Of course, I had to change up my chill, because in high school, I actually just got by doing what I was supposed to do. I didn't even make any efforts. So when I came to Kentucky State, my brain was like, okay, this will be a breeze. I got through school without just doing the absolute minimum. Whatever they said do, I did it and I passed. So I didn't have to make any special efforts. When I got to college, it was not the same thing. You got to study. You have to put some effort in. And I didn't get that in the very beginning. So I had to change up my ways. And that would be why I spent so much time. But aside from that, if you go into any institution, have a plan and don't leave until you get that degree. I am so thankful that a lot of you all that are listening, and hope that some of you all are prospective students, current students, or other alumni who can relate and connect. But I empower all of you to do your best. Don't go into a class, a swimming class, and be average. Go into your classes on campus and be the best. Because as you leave that school, they're going to be looking for that one. They're going to be looking for somebody just like you. And in a job area, you could be an entrepreneur, but you can learn all of those things right there in those halls on the hill of Kentucky State University.
I love how you said don't go to just be average, like go to be the best, like do everything in excellence, because you never know who's watching you and who's just waiting to give you the next opportunity or the next anything. So I love that. Let's see who wants to go next.
I'll jump in there.
Mm-hmm.
In one of the most impactful people for me at Kentucky State, and I'm when I say this sentence, many of the other alumni will probably be able to complete the sentence, because his leadership, he was a professor, science professor, was so impactful. And me being self-employed the last 25 years, nobody's going to give you an alarm clock to wake you up to let you know that it's time to go to work. And a lot of people, have to be pushed to go to class. And if you are an entrepreneur, you can't be pushed to go to work. You have to be self-motivated. One of the most important people who kind of set the stage for that was Dr. Gus Ridgel, who was he was a biology professor. And he had a famous quote that everybody knew, that if you were 1 minute late to his class, he would, and he saw the crack of that light in the back of the science room, you were late. And he was in front of everybody. If you were 1 minute late, he would say, young man or young lady, you happen to be too late for today and too early for tomorrow. And so timeliness was something that he really instilled, and many of us got that message. And so for me, especially being self-employed the last 25 years, where I had to kind of, have my own desire, motivations, and all these other students that will become, self-employed, which I highly encourage, students to do. But they need to understand Dr. Gus Ridgel's message, which is timeliness. And he would often say, and it rings in my head, if I'm late for a meeting, I hear Dr. Gus Ridgel saying, young man, you happen to be too late for today and too early for tomorrow. So I want to pass that message on to whomever it may resonate with.
I actually love that. Too late for today and too early for tomorrow. I like that. And I think it's definitely timeliness is something, I'll be honest, like it's something that I'm working on more myself, like really being and being intentional about being on time. So I like that. That was a good one. Let's see. Oh, here goes Marie back here with us. I think okay. I think she's joining us back on. And before we get ready to wrap this up, I just want to give a shout. I see Lacey's over here in the comments. Shout out to Lacey. Oh, he said Kimba didn't mention she was also the president of the KSU NAACP chapter. She's also Miss Pride of KSU and finished top 3 in the Miss Kentucky pageant. She should have won. Lacey dropping all the facts. So we have Randy Nichols on. Okay, so Randy Nichols is an esteemed professor and alumnus. He's really popular with the students. And that was said by the former president, Dr. Brown. All right. Well, shout out to Randy Nichols. Well, no, this has been great. I've enjoyed speaking with y'all. But before we go, give us your view on social media, your website, or where people can reach out to you all.
My Instagram is CharlieJack17 or at CharlieJack17. Facebook is just Charles Jackson. We're trying to do a couple things with K-State. Me and my business partner got a couple things we wanted to do to express our love and gratitude. He's an alumnus as well. And we want to create opportunities for book scholarships and things of that nature. So follow me at CharlieJack17 on Instagram. I'll give you all the updates. We have currently brewing in the pot. We're trying to create a couple snack shops around campus, maybe just one. We were trying to do some things when it comes to giving back. And hopefully that's one of the things we have brewing. So, yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's see. I don't know who wants to go.
You can find me at moatsrealty.com and Damon Moats on social media, but Moats Realty website to have any information there.
Okay. All right.
And I'm on the Mark Smith and LinkedIn. That's probably the best way to reach me. And it's in North Carolina. There's only a few of us. Picture of the
Okay.
My name is Kemba, and it's West African. It means gift from God. It's my daddy there. Kemba. So it's Kemba Cofield. That's my name on all social media sites. But my website is KembaACofield.com.
Okay.
Oh, and Daddy graduated from Tuskegee. I just thought I'd throw that out there.
Okay, look, shout out to Daddy. All right. Let me. Okay, I think Marie just joined us just in time for our end.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened to my tablet, so I'm on my phone now. Hopefully, it doesn't act up.
No, it's fine. Yeah, we just wrapping everything up. Give us your social media and I guess anything that final things, anything you got coming up that you want us to know.
Okay. All my social media is under my name, Marie Carmel. Well, my Marie Carmel Lindley, but my Instagram is just Marie Carmel Official. And also my dance studio, I have a website which is Dance AL, and my nonprofit, my social media for it, it's Arts AL Incorporated. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
All right. Well, this has been good. And I do want to give a shout out to one of our sponsors here, Positivity Water. It's a Black-owned alkaline water company. They do ship to you. So yeah, I just want to shout them out. Positivitywater.com. Be sure to check them out. But yeah, this has been a great discussion. Do you all have any final words that you all want to, anything else before we go?
HBCU is the best.
All right.
I just want to put a plug out there for any students who are matriculating to be entrepreneurs. Definitely go into real estate. It's a very forgiving profession. If you make mistakes, you can come back from them, because I've made plenty of them. And but I want to encourage every student when they come out of Kentucky State, to open up a franchise from this point forward. We've got to close the wealth gap, do your research, and one of the few ways that it's going to be done is by franchise ownership. It's a whole nother conversation, a whole nother website, but you can do it, and that's going to close the wealth gap, which is critically wide right now. But I'm putting every plug I can for everybody to come out of college, come together. Don't try to do it by yourself. That's the worst thing. Get partner with people, but get franchises going. Everybody on this line needs to have a franchise in the next 3 years. Thank you.
I love that. And we're going to have to bring you back for just like you say, a whole separate conversation about
Yes, I want to know. I'm always open to new ideas as an entrepreneur. I like to get my hands on in everything to see what works for me. I'm doing part of this company called Monate. We sell vegan products, which is something that I'm enjoying because the products are amazing and anyone can do this business. So I'm always open to hear about new things and how to generate extra stream of income that is not going to interfere with my schedule at the moment. So Monate is working really good for me. So I'm going to continue to do this on the side, generated a few thousand here and there while I'm pursuing what I have to do.
I love it. And then even with you, Charles, I know you mentioned that you all are doing some things with your business and your business partner on campus.
Yeah, so one of the things we created was we in the midst of actually trying to get a shop, but we started off with a couple of vending machines, and we just thought we'd probably do a snack shop, and it kind of the ball started to roll. And so the next goal is to kind of do a pop-up marketing advertisement to see if it works in Frankfort. It'd be all kind of like similar to a delivery-based type snack shop to where you can get an order from the app, get it driven to you. And so we're in the midst of collaborating and getting that together. So yeah, I mean, it just kind of just started flowing. We started doing a couple of events and selling at a couple of events. We got a nice little logo and everything. So everything is kind of rolling into place. So I agree with everything what he talked about with entrepreneurship and franchising. That's the next thing I want to get into. So I would love to pick your brain when it comes to that, but definitely. So,
well, my goal would be to hope that to work with Kentucky State University to try to have them to first, I'm looking at probably own a franchise here shortly, but I want to have Kentucky State University to have specifically a program that every student can know how to own a franchise when they graduate of any kind.
I love that. Yeah, we definitely gonna have to get you back on. And see, Lacey said Damon is also a top network marketer. Okay.
Okay, then we gotta connect.
Lacey plugging everybody tonight. I love it.
Yes, Lacey.
Lacey the man. Lacey the man.
The man.
All right. Kim is back. Kim, you got any final words before we hop off here?
I completely agree with the gentleman and what they said. Sorry, I don't know why it just kept going off. Can you hear me, or am I on mute?
We can hear you.
Okay. So I agree with everything they said in reference to being an entrepreneur. I mean, as a vocalist, that I had to learn business out of the blue. I'm used to just being able to get on stage and sing a song, but it's marketing. There are so many different elements to the music business that I had no clue about. Don't ever sign a contract unless you get a lawyer to look at it. But so I guess what I would say is definitely whatever your dreams are, apply yourself to those dreams and don't ever think it's too far for you to reach. I'm sure that as Obama was a little boy, he might not have thought that he was going to be president of the United States. And he was able to achieve that. And I try to instill in my students the same thing. Whatever your desires are, if that's what you want to do, then go for it. I'm impressed by Miss Carmel's resume and all of the gentlemen that are on this as well, because look at what you all have accomplished. And we all came out of that little bitty school in Frankfort, Kentucky. In the city, I'm actually wanting to create some events because now that I'm back here from Atlanta, it's different for me. and boring. So I wanted to try to create some events so that people can have some place to go out. It's safe and enjoy live music. And so I also will be performing around the Central Kentucky area as well as Cincinnati. So that'll get some other events that are happening, and I'll be on the stage. So I don't know what the question was. I hope I answered it. So
Yeah, tell us what you got coming up. So yeah, no, that's good. Well, this has been great, and his Lacey Mark is a pioneer member of the Thundering Thoroughbred Express, and Mighty Market Thoroughbreds is a founding member of the KSU alumni band. Okay, all right. I mean, I've enjoyed this conversation with you all and learning about Kentucky State and hearing all the accomplishments and everything. And definitely, I'm serious, Damon and Charles and everyone else. Like, we definitely will have to do a follow up and just talk great entrepreneurship and just franchise and things like that. So yeah, we'll sit with that maybe in a few weeks ago. But yeah, thank you for everyone for tuning in, and we'll see you all next time.
Well, thank you for hosting this program. I
Thank
just
you.
got, because of Lacey, I didn't even know you existed.
Yeah.
But thanks for Lacey to introduce, and thank you for your work. I mean,
Yes.
Amen.
this is critical work you're doing, so we really appreciate you,
Thank
and we'll
you.
follow
Yes.
you.
We
Oh,
definitely follow.
definitely.
Yes.
Yes, I look forward to connecting with you all after this. Yeah, and shout out to Randy Nichols on here too. He said we can was asking Nichols share we can talk. Yes, definitely. Shout out to everyone, and definitely you all have a great night.
Too. Thank you.
On with an upward.
Bye. Thank
On
you.
the network.